Any redistribution or reproduction of part or all of the contents in any form is prohibited, other than the following. We welcome you to download and play the podcast and share with others for personal use. Please acknowledge the Level With Us podcast as the source of the material. You may not, except with our express written permission, distribute or commercially exploit the content. The views and thoughts expressed on this podcast do not represent any lodge, Grand Lodge, or Freemasonry in general. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and you should not expect any accuracy, completeness, timeliness, or reliability with respect to the website or the information, products, services, or related graphics contained on the podcast for any purpose. Many of the people in this podcast are U.S. military veterans with years of head trauma. Therefore, any reliance you place on such information is therefore strictly at your own risk. Enjoy, and thank you for listening. Good evening, and welcome to The Level With Us, a monthly podcast that's a lighthearted look at modern Freemasonry, what goes on in the Masonic Center, and other topics that interest us. Going around the room here, I got
Brother Spike,
West Side, a.k.a. Handy Manny,
Big Sexy,
Hollywood,
Brother Stitch.
I'm Gun Monkey.
And on the mic here, I'm the music man, Brother Ron Wright. And the producer here, we got Brother Bear Tony Legs. And joining us as a special guest tonight is Brother
Elijah Muhammad with the bean pies.
So tonight, this is going to be a lighthearted discussion about Masonry in general and what made us turn into Masons.
Right.
So up first, how about the music man? Brother Ron, why don't you go ahead? What brought you into Masonry?
Sure. So I've got some family history with Masonic roots, and it was always something that interested me, and I thought that, I would explore the local lodge and find out what was going on. Drove past many times, seen folks that were there, and walked in one night and met a bunch of guys. Didn't know if I'd fit in or not, and but they accepted me. They welcomed me in, and very nervous. Had dinner with them, and following that, decided to put a petition in and take the ride.
Got a question. Gun Monkey got a question. So what you say you got a history? What kind of history you got, man?
Father-in-law is a Mason. I think there's some other Masons in my ancestry, and so yeah, it was. There's you get older and you realize if I'm going to do it, I better do it now. So that was.
So you kind of wanted to do this for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't getting any younger.
You could say that, yeah.
Benjamin Button over there.
Yeah. What's up?
Way to be on mic there, Craig. Great job. He's going to sit all the way in the back and talk to his mic.
Why don't you go talk in the bathroom?
Yeah.
Hey, what about our whiskey Mike from 150? What about you, man?
Let's see. Growing up, my grandfather was a Mason, and he never talked about it. But he always wore the ring, and I get to wear it now, but he never said a word. I remember he'd be at the dining room table, and my mother and my aunt, like the whole family would guess what the G stood for. And we'd say crazy stuff, and and it was whatever. It's like green beans or
Gummy bears.
Or Gun Monkey!
Or gun monkeys, it could be whatever, But he would never tell us what it meant, and then he passed away right before I went in the military, and then years later, I was hiking. I was out hiking with some guys who are now in the lodge, and we just started talking about Masonry, and we're like, yeah, we've always been waiting to be invited. I've been waiting for 15 years for someone to come knocking on my door. I guess I'm kind of not a good man yet, or I'm not worthy. And then one of the ladies who was with us, who's one of the guy's wives now, she goes, no, stupid, that's not how it works. You just go down there, and then she introduced us to Reggie. So we went down there, met Reggie. We got our petitions, and then came in, and it's been a wild ride. Since I've been in here, I mean, everyone in this room is not just friends, but I consider you guys family. While we're brothers and everything, but it's kind of neat. At any given time, I can make a phone call, and I got a drinking buddy. I got someone to hang out with. I can go to a concert.
A handyman. You got a guy that starts projects but hasn't finished them.
His bike's always broken, but it's been a fun ride, and then you get to mentor and people mentor you, and you learn new things, and you kind of expand your horizons, and I've kind of enjoyed it over the last few years.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Man. Yeah. So
How about young Jeff over there? He sounds like a 5-year-old boy.
Big sexy.
Big sexy. So,
up, man?
what's up, everybody? So I have a bit of a family history in Masonry. My great-grandfather was a Mason in Pennsylvania. My great-uncle, my grandfather joined St. Columba in, I believe, 1973. And I joined when I turned 18, but I was past master counselor at Chesapeake Chapter Order of Demolay. My
Coming
sister,
back very soon, might I add.
Yeah, coming back. It's good. It's good to see. My sister was past Honor Queen of Bethel 62. My mom's a past Honor Queen of Bethel 62.
Wow, man, you got a lot.
So
of
what he's
history
saying
there.
is
The whole
he
family's
stood his
involved.
first proficiency at 18 months old.
And right.
He came out doing Dugard's.
So, I mean, it's just been always a part of my family. I can remember when I was a younger kid, my grandfather would always sit me down in his living room, and he kept showing me handshakes. I didn't know what they were. I know now.
Something else. Yeah.
Bringing him up on Masonic charges.
Past Master, we're coming for you. Just-
Glad you threw that shakes in there.
Sounds like you got some repressed memories there. But, you know, it's good. It's good. What about you, Handy Mandy?
I actually, my daughter became a Joby first, and then I just started hanging out at Site P and played enough Golden Tee that I finally figured out I would just join the lodge since I'm over there all the time.
That's
So
what
you
the
got
G
no-
stands for, golf.
Yeah, it stands for Golden Tee. But no, I just became friends with everyone, and then decided finally asked what it was about. Mike, they kind of talked about it, it hinted around, but left it a secret, so I figured I'd see what it was all about.
You got no history in it or
Gotta
anything?
ask
History at
them
all.
to do
I
it.
was the first one in my family to become Mason.
And that happens a lot. I mean, with my wife, she joined Job's Daughters first, and then her parents got into the Masons and Eastern Star after she joined Joby's once they saw what it's all about. But there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good way to come into.
That's awesome. Hey, I got a question, man. How'd you get that nickname?
Which one?
Handy Mandy.
Handy Mandy.
Because I've been, my company's doing construction now, so I showed up at the lodge with my reflector vest on and stuff. Forgot to.
You got your
Gotta
little
take it off.
toolbox
So I
and your
walked
little
in,
tool belt on.
Walked in there to fix some things.
You had your
up.
cut off jeans and your little
Probably
tank
not
top.
He
that
came
much.
in looking like Bob the Builder.
Yeah.
Like a Mexican Tim Allen.
That's exactly how I did. But this is another main reason I joined the lodge, because I found some people that were just as strange as I am.
There you go.
Actually, the funniest thing was I'm driving with Mike's daughter, Lena, and we're listening to it, and she's like, my dad listens to this exact same music. And I looked at her and said, there's no way. No one listens to the crazy stuff I listen to. Sure enough, my first night at Site P, we ran through the set list and saw records that I thought I was the only one that owned. And, just clicked from there.
Well, no, actually, it was
Criminal
Brian
records,
No,
or?
Brian and I. Yeah, criminal records. That goes well with my clearance. The funny thing is that Brian and I were at it was a high school orientation for our youngest daughters.
Yeah.
And we were hanging out. And some people don't learn not to put stuff on the table while you're recording because they should go eat some crayons. But we just started talking about music, and then he came over and hung out, and
Saw Josh Wink's Higher State of Consciousness, and it was all over after that.
yeah, it was Tony. Yeah, Tony was there, big legs, and his socks.
That was the best proficiency ever. The best. Just cut off shorts. How about you, Coop?
Oh man, I don't have any
Good
family.
monkey.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Gun Monkey Studios.
Yeah, I'm Gun Monkey. I don't have any family either, man. I was in masonry. When I got out of the service, I fell on some hard times. It was really hard to find that camaraderie again, and I actually got back into it. I became a paramedic, and at the firehouse I found it again, and then I lost that once. I left that job and opened up a gun shop, and a couple of the customers, were talking about it one day, and he's like, hey, I was like, well, I've never been asked, and I don't know anybody. I don't have any family. And he's like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Just come on down and, have some dinner with us. Man, I get there, and I knew like half the people there. I was like, wow, that's pretty, that's pretty cool, man.
That's the biggest misconception. I think everyone that's in this room, even people who aren't on mic right now because they're recording, everyone felt that they had to be invited. And I think that's the biggest misconception.
I've known about Freemasonry, ever since I was a kid.
Like the secret letter comes in the mail that you're the chosen one now.
Yeah, it's like you turn 18. It's like Harry Potter. An owl comes and drops off your letter to join a lodge.
One of the first actually actual adult interactions with a Mason I had was on the ship. One of the MS chiefs, mess specialist. He had a Mason ring, and we would tease him. We would say, he's part of a secret society. He can't talk about it and stuff like that. And we never showed any interest, so we never talked about it. And then as an adult, the next time, or later on after I got out of service, this was the next time that I got some interaction with Masons, and I go there and I see a bunch of people I know, and ever since then, like, we've all just clicked and had a good time, and it was that camaraderie that I was missing. And I love my brothers. I'll do anything for them, and that's where I'm at now. I'm a fellow craft, waiting to do my proficiency.
There goes that secret talk again.
Yeah,
No, let's break it down. So Masonry has 3 degrees, pretty much only 3 degrees. There's other ones, but only the first 3 matter. So a first degree is considered an entered apprentice. That's when you first join a lodge. The second degree is a fellow craft. That's when you finish your first degree, you become a fellow craft. And then finally, your third degree is a master mason. And another misconception is it takes years, and you're going to be like 50 years old when you do it. No, it's
4 months.
You can, depending how quick your class is, or as an individual.
I got all 3 degrees in about 3 hours in one afternoon.
When you were 5.
And that's why you're horrible at ritual.
And the portal.
No, but the fellowship, the fraternity of it, the brotherhood, I think that's what keeps me coming back, and the fact that we don't just hang out in lodge. I don't know what other lodges do, but we see each other more out of the lodge than we do in the lodge.
Yeah.
See, the best thing is when someone comes in to sit in the studio audience and they're on their phone and we can all hear the conversation.
Yeah, these mics pick it up pretty.
Yeah, but that was kind of sort of like my story. Like,
Who are you?
Stitch!
Brother Stitch.
Yeah, what's up, Stitch?
Yeah, so that was kind of like my story too. I don't have any family that is Masons. I actually got the education from a guy that I worked with who was a Master Mason. So we were just chatting one night, and we were talking about like history and all types of other stuff and conspiracy theories and whatnot. And he was like, "Hey, you might like being a Mason." I was like, "Well, isn't that like devil worship or something?" He was like, "No, no." So he actually like helped me out. Like, he was the one that got me connected to St. Columba. Then I met, the functioning alcoholic that I now call my friends.
I was say which one you meant. Which one?
Hi, I'm Ron.
He
I
said
am
alcoholic, but he meant alcoholics.
Yeah, but no,
Like the rap band.
I think
Not
rap
like,
group, right?
we don't go to the only meetings we go to are,
Masonic meetings.
Our own.
But no, I got a weird email from a guy named Michael Spike Porter.
Spike!
So I was like, well, who is this guy? And then he invited me out to the lodge. I met you guys, and you guys were just a live band. So we all kind of connected. I was like, hey, they're a bunch of degenerates like I am. But yeah, like Coop, like when I got out of the military, it was like I lost that camaraderie. I lost that connection. So like all the guys I made connections with, like we were all scattered. Some of us were still in, some of us were out. So when I came to St. Columba, it was just like, hey, what's going on, guy? I was like, oh,
Right.
Who are you guys? So then we all got connected, started hanging out at Site P, and then next we hang out all the time. So, and I love you guys for it.
Yeah.
Aw.
Love you too, Stitch.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I was surprised to see how many veterans were actually at our lodge. Veterans and first responders and stuff like that. And it's such a big mix of people, like from different ethnicities. And
Speaking of first responders, what about you, Kreggles?
oh, Hollywood!
Hollywood!
Yeah. So I had a couple cousins.
How about you get on mic there, genius?
I'm on the mic.
There you go.
By
Hollywood on the mic.
Yeah,
By
there
cousins, do you mean brothers?
No, actual cousins.
Kissing cousins?
No.
He's from South Carolina.
Distant cousins.
So I had a couple cousins.
The family tree is awfully
the
straight.
2 brothers and the dad. we're all Masons, and I talked to the younger brother about it at one point, and then kind of fell off interest for a little while. Joined the military, and a few years ago, my daughter became friends with a young lady from her school, and I happened to meet her dad. Some crazy Air Force guy. But he was wearing a Masonic hat, so we started talking, and he's like, dude, a majority of the people in my lodge are all military. And there's a couple first responders there. Dude, you'll fit right in. Come on and join us. So I came, and same thing. I had dinner and found a bunch of degenerates that that accepted me in all my weirdness. So,
Bunch of
yeah.
degens
So
from the backcountry.
Huh? So the degens from upcountry?
Yeah.
So yeah, because of that connection that I made with my daughter's best friend's dad, you know, I'm now a Mason. And
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
which
one of
that best friend is Spike, by the
yeah,
way.
yeah.
The weird thing is, as I just stepped off mic to make a drink, I look around and I just like, oh, we're in a gun shop. There's I'm like,
What gun shop are we in?
Where are we at, Mike?
Tonight, we are hosting the podcast from downtown La Plata at Monkeys Armory, located on, what's the street address?
606 Charles Street.
A local business that we all support, obviously, and one of the brothers in our lodge is the owner. So we
Veteran owned and operated.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
veteran
sir.
owned and operated.
Yeah.
That's a
Come
big
check
deal.
them
If
out.
you haven't put two and two together, Gun Monkey is the owner of Gun Monkey.
Come see Coop. Come see Coop. He's raffling off a judge, so come see him.
Oh yeah. We're raising money for the Valley, so come by and pick up a ticket.
Yeah, we'll have the tickets in about a week or two. I just got approval today. I got the blessing, so from the master of our Scottish Rite Valley,
Nice.
and he's like, "Oh, this would be nice." So we're gonna do a little fundraiser because we just so people understand, St. Columba is turning 150 years old this year, and it's kind of exciting. And for the first 150 years, we only did the first 3 degrees of Masonry. This year, a bunch of us did some crazy stuff and joined Scottish Rite, went all the way to 32 degrees in a weekend. It was kind of crazy.
Death by PowerPoint.
Ooh, it was fun though. I mean, it was,
But most of us are veterans, so we're used to it.
yeah, it was like a typical training class. Oh, EO 2000. I'm good with this. But and then we had enough people to open up a Scottish Rite Valley for the first time in Charles County, so it's kind of exciting.
So speaking of Scottish Rite, what's the difference for those who don't know between the first 3 degrees and Scottish Rite?
I just became a Scottish Rite Mason.
That's going to be in a future podcast.
So
The fight
it's
is-
furthering your
it's
education
just-
in the
yeah,
Masonic
The
world.
difference is about 45 minutes shorter meetings. That's
The weird, it's like if you look at like the first 3 degrees of Masonry, it would be like elementary school, middle school, and then high school. And then joining Scottish Rite Masonry is like getting your degree. It is literally getting more degrees. But it's like moving up higher. It's getting more education because I know that day there was a lot of times and they were doing all the lectures and stuff. We were just like, your mouth was dropping, you were into it, and you know, I really didn't have a hard time staying awake that day. It was actually pretty easy to stay awake. It was just really interesting material they were going over.
And a beautiful building, too, right?
Yeah,
it was beautiful
Yeah, it was a
building.
gorgeous building.
I like to think of it like Star
The cool
Wars.
thing about it is those extra degrees that we went through. It's not more information. It just redefined and gave more information on the first 3 degrees.
Yeah.
So you guys said that we are the first one in Charles County.
Yes, the
Southern
first
Maryland?
Scottish Rite.
The first valley in like 7 years, I think, too. in Maryland.
7 or 8 years in the world because we fall under the southern jurisdiction.
Yeah.
In the southern jurisdiction, and if I'm speaking out of place, someone's going to grab me in the next week and
think
throw me in
you're
the
right.
back of a trunk. But it's like 35 states and most countries in the world fall under the southern jurisdiction, which is out of D.C.
So,
We're the first valley in like 8 years in the world. So
okay, so there's other valleys in the area.
Yeah.
there's how many?
Yeah.
is
So
there?
what if you're a part of a
We're
lodge?
the 7th one in Maryland,
Yeah.
and the last one that opened is somewhere between 6 and 8 years. So let's say 6 to 8 years. The last one was open was also in Maryland. So the 2 newest valleys that have opened in the world in the last few years have all been, well, under southern jurisdiction, I'll caveat that, have all been in Maryland. So what it tells you is that Maryland Masonry is very strong. We have good leadership at the Grand Lodge, and I'm not even saying that just because, like, you know, they might listen to this. But we've had very good Grand Masters over the last few years. You know, Our current Grandmaster, Nagel, is a really cool guy. He had his gala this weekend. It was a lot of fun.
Who looks like the guy off of Monopoly.
He does.
He went with us to Hershey Park too, man. He went to Hershey Park.
Nagel's a good guy.
He's really cool.
He was D Malay his whole life, and I know Jeff was in D Malay when he was there.
I grew up with Nagel as being one of the chapter dads. Very active, always very supportive of the youth organizations. All around a good guy.
Yeah, he's funny. He's got a really good sense of humor. And then before him was Gus Vorbalis, and Gus is really big into the youth group too. And
he's right behind you.
We see him at Job's daughter stuff all the time, which is awesome. Before him was Kenneth Wyville, and Wyville was a Southern Maryland guy, so he's one of ours. And he used to come to our lodge all the time.
Grand Lodge of the South.
Grand Lodge, Southern Maryland.
Well, our last two Grand Masters has been very, very big in the youth aspect of Masons.
Because they're our future.
That's right.
Right.
Yes.
Without them, there's no future.
Just like
the
Whitney
lodges.
Houston said. Yeah.
So, if I'm a part of a lodge that it only does the first 3 degrees, they're not red, they're not blue, they don't have what you guys call
Well,
valley.
that'd be Blue Lodge.
It would be Blue Lodge.
Blue Lodge.
So what if I wanted to, let's say, I'm a high school graduate, but I want to go and get that college education? What do I do?
So you can either go
Site B's
to
website, or not
you
Site
can
B.
go to our website, stcolumba150.org, and on there is you can click on Scottish Rite Masonry. If you're local, you could join our valley. If not, it has a link directly to the Orient of Maryland, and you can go there. Or from there, you can just look up Scottish Rite Masonry and find a local valley.
Yeah, because that seems to be like something that's like got a lot of information, and with only 7 lodges in the state.
Valleys.
7 valleys in the state. Sorry.
There's over 100. I mean, between the 2 Grand Lodges of Maryland, between Prince Hall and AF and AM, there's got to be over 200 lodges in the state of Maryland, and you can't really.
With only
Now,
7.
what is AFAM?
Yeah,
ancient,
what's that
free, and accepted Masons.
Now, all right. So since Gun Monkey asked the last question, do you have to go to your nearest valley or lodge?
Or can you go to the
Can you
coolest
pick
Well,
which one you want to go to?
Columba 150. St. Columba.
Site B?
I think we talked. Didn't we talk this, Mike? And you don't have to, but what happens is when you drop the petition, we at least have to notify the one that's closest to you.
It's a jurisdictional
just to
thing.
kind of let them know that hey, this person is coming on board. Technically, they're closer to you, but they want to join us. So you got to give the other valley or lodge notification that member's coming on.
So, like, let's say you live closer to a different lodge, but all your friends were in our lodge. You're like, oh, I really want to go to St. Columba versus like another lodge, and it's not because you don't like the lodge; it's just you want to be with all your friends that are over there. So you would just say, hey, I want to join this lodge, and you go over there. But the lodge has to contact the other lodge to make sure it's cool with them.
Yeah.
It's a change of venue.
Yeah, no, I just want, I wanted to know, and I wanted, people to know what they can do if they're at a lodge that doesn't have a valley.
Yeah, I've noticed that, like, a lot of people ask me, like, when they see me wear my hat and stuff, like, oh, how did you get into it? And I think that's one of the biggest problems that Masonry is probably having, like, nationwide and probably globally, is, like, how do you actually join? How do you get the information? How do you actually find a lodge?
I always tell people they just put me in the trunk of a car and drove me off one day. It's
be one, ask one.
So those that are listening, or potentially listening, Bear's
all
pointing
three
to
people.
Music Man's T-shirt, which says to be one, ask one.
I like how Craig's like a
Thank you.
parrot. His
He's a
head's constantly
translator.
moving back and forth, so he can't stay on the mic. He's like Stevie Wonder over
Hey,
there.
Yeah, he talks like this.
He's
He's
the,
like, hey,
he's the bear whisperer.
Hey, but I'm digging the vibe, though.
Yeah.
he talks like he's running away from you like this, like he's coming by and just swinging through.
All right, so let's do a little shout out here. So tonight our podcast is sponsored by BlueDyer Distilling Company, crafting quality rum, whiskey, and gin right here, well, right down the street in Waldorf, since 2015. So a very long time. And by BlueDyer Tavern, your new local watering hole for craft cocktails. Recently featured by Lynn O'Mara in restaurants of Southern Maryland and in the Charles County Visitor's Guide. BlueDyer Tavern is a must-visit destination. Distillery tours, tasting, and craft cocktails. Open Tuesday through Friday, 5 to 10 p.m. And Saturday and Sunday, 2 to 10 p.m. Located at 52 Industrial Park Drive, Suite 15, Waldorf, Maryland. Find them on Facebook and Instagram. And I think I know the guy who runs the website. Oh wait,
Oh
Who
yeah.
would that be, Mike?
he's a real.
Hey,
he's a
they
real clown.
actually every Wednesday and Saturday they have a rep at our local farmers market. So in La Plata, we have the La Plata Farmers Market has a smaller event on Wednesdays, but a huge event. The entire parking lot. It's actually behind the courthouse in downtown La Plata, and I've seen BlueDyer there.
Yeah, you can
they
pretty
get
much
around.
you can go to their website BlueDyerDistilling.com, and on there's actually a map. And whoever, what's going on over here? And
Nothing. Don't look over there.
They make some pretty good drinks over there too.
Yeah.
yeah, they they
Yeah.
got their tavern license recently, and so Ryan and Walker, the
Yeah,
owners,
Ryan's a good dude, man.
and Dan, the new
Yeah.
he's the bartender / front end manager, bar manager. The guy's incredible. He's come up with some crazy drinks.
It's got to be better than what Craig just poured because that was.
Hey, Ryan. I've met Ryan multiple times. He's the owner of BlueDyer. He's a really good, down to earth dude. He's a
Little heavy?
retired police officer.
So
he's-
is Walker. Walker and him are both retired.
Squared away. Yeah, the squared away dudes, man.
Squared away.
Yeah,
And they got a food truck that shows up some nights.
Yeah, they have food trucks.
I see
there.
what you did there.
Oh,
yeah, you like that?
But yeah, it's you go down there, you can do the tour, you can do a tasting. Some nights I'm even down there doing tours, helping out because we've been some of us from the lodge have been helping them out since the beginning, and we go down there and
Help
we
me
hang
out, man.
And carry the party on to Site B.
I got some
after
paper.
that.
are they,
I got some paperwork.
Because
that needs
somebody
to be
works for drinks.
I'm fine. It's like it's like the commercial. I work for rum.
done. Yeah.
Hey, are they still up at the farmers market in Calvert County also? Or,
I'll
I'm
play
not-
the game. Are they?
I'm not sure.
I know they were at another farmers market as well.
They do. You check their Facebook, check their website. They post their events on there where they're
What
going to
is
be
this, a
appearing.
magic show? I
It
don't
is.
know.
Yeah.
Yes, let's pull their events out of a hat.
Well, since you are
Yeah,
an
check-
unofficial
Yeah,
employee,
check them out. Check them out on Facebook and
And you
Instagram,
run their
and you'll be
website.
able to.
I'm like their
yeah.
unofficial CIO or
You'll
something
be able
like
to
that.
find out where they go. But I'm pretty sure every Wednesday and Saturday they're at least somebody from them, from BlueDyer's, representing them down there at the
Yeah, they
La Plata Farmers
in the
Market.
last year they've been hiring more employees. So they're a small
Yeah.
business, but they've been growing, and it's nice to see a small business grow from just Ryan and
yeah.
Walker when they started, and they were sleeping in the back room. And I went in there the first time I ever walked in there. We walked in there, we're just like standing at the bar, and we're like, it was like the second week, the place empty, and we're like, hello, we're just screaming, and then all of a sudden like. Ryan came out of the office. He was literally sleeping because he wanted to get a nap before he had to go. He was on duty,
Oh yeah.
so he was like, "Yeah."
Oh yeah. When he first opened the business, he was still working as a law enforcement officer.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
They
both
were
were.
working.
Yeah,
They were
yeah.
working a lot. They were distributing themselves. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember the little store over by my house. I went in there one day and they were out of rum, and I was like, "What am I going to drink tonight?" We're having some people over. We need something to drink, and the owner was like, "Oh, they have to distribute themselves."
Please.
So I called them. I was like, "Hey, Berry County Markets out of BlueDyer." And they're like, "Okay, we'll be right." And they drove down with like a case or two and dropped it off there, so I didn't have to.
You can't go to a Southern Maryland liquor store and not see BlueDyer.
Yeah, they're
in
all
the
over
liquor
now.
store. They're everywhere.
You
now.
can see the
Hey,
Site B, too.
I walked
Oh,
away.
yeah.
You can see
Hey,
cases
Number
of
one
empty
drink
bottles.
for Masons.
I
at
walked
Site
away
P.
for a second to go get my drink. Did you talk about what flavors they have, like the rum and the whiskey?
Well,
and
it's
all
true. So they have the normal rum. Their golden rum is aged in a whiskey barrel, and then they have the dark rum, which is your normal.
It's delicious.
Oh, it is delicious.
that? It is so yummy.
And then they have the
There's the whiskey.
They have the whiskey.
The
The
Don't
port.
forget about that
then they have
port.
the port whiskey is.
Can confirm. That's amazing.
We were at a record. It was me, you, and Jeremy at a record store day. It was cold out, and of course, Brian and I never wear pants. We're always wearing shorts. And we're just sitting there at like 7 a.m, like hitting a flask of that port whiskey, and it was so
Yeah.
tasty.
Dude, I'm not.
Everyone's
even,
like
That
all these
port whiskey
hipsters.
is amazing.
All these hipsters are sitting there with their Starbucks Frappuccino, mocha, whatever crazy coffees.
orange mocha frappuccino.
And there's like this, the three Masons are just standing there with like a flask of like port whiskey. Like I'm staying warm.
Look like
this
a bunch
way.
of steno bums.
That port whiskey was amazing. That's so good.
I'm not.
And they weren't
I'm not even a fan of
allowed near
gin, but their gin
playgrounds.
is on
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, they're. I'm not a fan of gin either, but their gin is well done. And then I think it's 'cause he puts like a little citrus in it. And then they have the barrel rested gin.
Yeah.
where they rest
That's
the gin.
really good.
You know what? You know
That's-
my.
it doesn't taste
Well,
like
it's
gin.
stuff-
It's like gingerbread.
Do you know what my
we put-
absolute favorite from them is their vodka and their spiced rum. Oh, wait a second. Now what's
So,
the
so if anyone from BlueDyer decides to listen to this, it's a hint. You need to start making some spice rum, and you might want to partner with Gun Monkeys because I know they want to do something with some spice rum. And you know, obviously, you just got your tavern license, boys. You need some vodka.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Berta.
We need to
Berta
we need to
boys.
discuss
Berta.
with them
I'll
the
have a vodka.
possibility of doing a podcast out of there.
Oh, that would be
it's
awesome.
True. Hosted from there.
Host-
Oh, that'd be
From there,
it'd be
over
noisy,
there,
but it would be it would definitely be fun in there.
We probably should just keep it to Beyond the Square.
Yeah.
Or
probably.
beyond, what is that? Beyond the level.
Beyond the level.
Beyond the level. There you go. That one's
It's
gonna
a
be
soon to be coming
beyond
podcast your way.
That would be our podcast that will not be normally listened to, and it'd be for lodge use only because it'd be blue language.
Oh snap! The bear has
guys.
decided to
Oh.
wake up from his
It's the
hibernation.
bear.
It's the bear.
Just wanted one suggestion. Since we're talking this much about BlueDyer, how about we let the people know their online address?
We already
So
did that.
find them.
Way to go!
Oh,
you're,
yeah.
you're like
Hey.
15 minutes late.
Hey, Bear Leg.
Wow.
You know,
You had one job.
I got
Just
a
in
question.
case we didn't,
I got
what
a
is that
question.
website again?
You know,
The
Has he been
website would be
drinking yet?
BlueDyerDistilling.com. That's BlueDyer Distilling.com.
How do you
A
spell
site-
distilling?
A Site P
Design.
production.
Design.
Wait,
There's a bunch of websites that say Site P Designs
There's
on the
quite a
bottom,
few
and
of
there's
them.
no company called Site P Designs.
wait a minute. For those of us that got dyslexia, like this guy right here, how do you spell distillery?
Do we really have to do this for the
No.
Marine in the
We
room?
need a Jeopardy thing.
And it's not
Whoa,
distilling,
whoa,
it's
whoa.
distilling. It's
Distilling?
One of the Marines.
DISTILLING.com.
One of the Marines.
Look,
I didn't ask for the spelling.
because you can just
He
say it in your
asked
phone.
for-
You're like,
he asked
Alexa.
for it already. He asked for it for you, so you just had to listen.
Exactly.
yeah, too bad we don't have any video. You should have seen him spit his crowns out so he could talk into the mic.
Only the red ones.
Hey, my favorite of the
On a
dollar
side
store
note,
brand.
I need to know where you got that blueberry cake stuff over there. That bread. That was pretty amazing. I just had a slice of that.
Yeah, I showed up before Jeff showed up with the subs from Nick's, and I was like, I was starving. I was like,
Wait, we
there's
got
some
sandwiches?
blueberry cake.
That blueberry bread over there is pretty good.
Oh yeah, the blueberry cream
We
stuff.
had
Yeah, so
sandwiches.
Sandwiches are
anytime.
delish. Maybe if you didn't show up late, Keenan, you would have had one.
Well, I'm sorry that I operate on half CP time.
CPT.
I said half. Okay.
That's true.
That's right. Big Sexy's got everybody's foot long.
Shots fired.
So where is St. Columba
So
located?
St. Columba is located at our address at 710 Lodge Street in La
Just
Plata.
got it named.
Yeah, didn't we get that like a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, it was for all those years since I think we moved in there in 1968 into our current building.
We didn't have an address.
And we
Yeah.
did not have a physical and cool address like this, but now we have this. Just this year, we got Brother Glenn from the Lodge went ahead and got us a mailbox, and we finally have a physical address.
Look for the blue metal roof.
or the building with a big square and compass on the front.
Yeah, that works too.
Look for the building with the gutters laying on the floor.
Didn't we change
Joe,
the
get the
name of
gutters
it
up.
recently?
We for many years we did a little branding change. So for many years we were just St. Columba Lodge number 150, but now that we
it said
are,
Masonic Temple on the front of it.
but now that we have Scottish Rite and we are really pushing hard with our Boy Scout troop, our Job's Daughters Bethel number 62, and our Chesapeake chapter D. Malay that is rising from the ashes in the next few weeks.
Like a phoenix.
Yes, and it's kind of cool that over the next few years we've watched this. The older Masons, the past masters that were running the lodge in the '60s are watching the evolution of our lodge, from everything from social media to a much younger crowd coming in, and the energy we have, and
Give them the name.
throwing parties, and past master Cliff Ellis, man, he's the
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
he's the guy,
yeah.
he
Wow.
built that
So
building.
what is the temple called now? It's no longer
And him
the
and Bob
temple.
Mitchell, past master Bob Mitchell, those are the guys who built that building.
It's
Represent.
St. Columba Masonic Center, correct?
Center.
Center now. It's
We,
not temple.
we're branching out. We got to show that we're modern Masons and we're having some fun. And
So not just a lodge
You know,
now.
I'm talking about-
this is not your grandfather's lodge.
That's
talking-
right.
talking
Not
about
your
the-
granddaddy's
I
lodge.
was talking about the transformation. When I first came in, I didn't see a whole lot of the older guys, a lot of the past masters.
Yeah.
True.
They
Very
had kind
true.
of fallen off, and
They like to
because,
show up now.
and because of the transformation that's going on, they've actually gotten a kick out of it, and they're starting to come back, and they're really happy about what we're the younger crew is doing, and getting the D Malay back and starting the valley, and
I think we've really accepted people kind of for where they are and for who they are. We We meet on the level, as people say, as brothers
why don't
say.
you explain what that means to me on the level? See, there's a lot of Masonic terms that we use on a daily basis, and we all used them, like squared away. Oh, he's
Right.
he's on the level.
He doesn't cut corners.
Black
Yeah,
ball.
exactly.
Yeah.
Blackball is
Right,
another term
right.
that we never really understood what they meant, and then when you join a lodge, all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is all this stuff that I've been talking about. I've said in
Light bulb.
in vernaculars for years, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's a light bulb came on. It was like, oh, look at me.
Well, I think that the concept, at least for me, is that there's different people can reach different ranks within a Masonic body, and certainly we have respect for those folks and officers within the lodge itself.
There's a lot of respect going on between Craig and Tina right now. With some lovely hand gestures that are not
Well,
Masonic.
for me on the level, Ron, stepping
Yeah.
in, it means that it doesn't matter if you dig ditches for a living or if
Right.
you're the president of the United
Right.
States. As soon as you walk into that lodge, you guys are the same.
Yeah, you're all the same. We don't respect people necessarily for their ability to achieve things in life.
Yeah.
We respect them as a man.
Your status in life doesn't define you as a Mason.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
that's also really good for like guys that are trying to like find their way in life. Especially with, like guys like me that are coming out of the military that are trying to get their feet, up, get their feet grounded. Because when you spend years in the military, that's all you know. So it's good to be around a group of guys that have different experiences, that walk different paths, but Masonry brings them all together. So when you have questions, you got people you can go to
Right.
that can kind of point you in the right direction.
That's just like what's in this room right now. We
Right.
have, we're not all the same. We're
Sure.
a bunch of completely different people.
Right.
And since I got called out, I do respect you there, brother.
I still hate you.
But you know what? Even to caveat off that, to jump on that we were talking about, but in our lodge, we have everything from Muslims to people who are Jewish to people who are Christian, and it doesn't matter. I mean, there's been times when we've had a devout Muslim as our marshal escort the chaplain, who was a rabbi, up to the east
Absolutely.
to do a prayer in a room full of Christians, and we all just sat there like, duh.
and nobody batted an eye.
Yeah.
We didn't even think twice about it until one of
Right.
the past masters stood up and go, only in Masonry
Right.
can you have a Muslim escort a rabbi and do a prayer in front of a bunch of Christians, and nobody bats an eye at it. And we're like, oh yeah, I guess that's we didn't even think about it.
You know what my favorite defining moment lately is that the fact that we talked about the Valley earlier, and the Valley for the most part is 4-letter Masons, but that we have one.
What was that?
FM.
AM, FM radio?
But we do have a Prince Hall as a charter member on our Valley. Tolson is a Prince Hall Mason, and he's a chartered member of our Scottish Rite Valley.
Great
and
job.
getting ready to finish,
That's huge.
and getting ready
Great
to
guy.
graduate from the police
Yeah.
academy. We're very proud of him.
That's
Yeah.
huge. I mean,
Well,
we
you know-
have a united Valley that encompasses both Grand Lodges and Masonry.
And I think also there's a lot of language out there. We use words like Grand Master and Grand Lodge, and there's a lot
Or
of
the biggest one is worshipful master.
Yeah,
People
worshipful
people
master.
worship the worshipful. Nobody
Yeah.
worships the master. Of the
Worcestershire?
lodge.
Definitely not.
yeah.
Yeah. It's that term is an old English term. Like the mayor of London is the most worshipful mayor of London. It means most respected.
Sure.
So nobody is worshiping anyone in that lodge.
Isn't that a steak sauce?
It is. It's very tasty too.
But
So with more of the transformation,
DJ Spike.
In the house.
a bunch of us from St. Columbo, all the newly installed officers this year, we went to a Prince Hall meeting, and it ended up being the consecration of the newest Prince Hall Lodge.
So
in
I've
Maryland.
got to ask, what do we say when we say Prince Hall? What are we saying? What
It's
is
just
it?
there's two grand lodges in most states, and there's AF and AM and FAM, and they're very, very old charters. I mean, Prince Hall was a man back in colonial times who he went over and got his charter from the Grand Lodge of Ireland, if I'm not mistaken, and he was able. It was Ireland.
Okay.
And he opened it was like African Lodge 459 or something up in Boston or Massachusetts, somewhere's up there. Back when the country was segregated, back in
Right.
the old days.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I mean, there's still the history behind them.
But now they roll up under the Grand Lodge of England.
Nobody really cares. I mean, nobody really
Right.
cares anymore. I mean, yeah, everyone has their Grand Lodge, and but the brothers, we all hang out together.
Right.
We do joint ritual together.
Right. Right.
We hang out. We go to each other's lodges. We have parties. We celebrate birthdays together.
We make them honorary members. Of
Like their
Sure,
grandmaster.
absolutely. Yeah.
We've even been a part of each other's raisings and
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've
degree
done,
work.
we've done degree work for each other. And it's been nice. You know, it's
On a side note, our degree work is great, but if you get a chance to see a Prince Hall raising, it's pretty amazing.
It'll
pretty
change your life.
spectacular.
It's a little different.
Yeah.
Well, what
You
did
know,
we
and
go
there's
to
di-
last time we were at their second degree? Was that a second degree
Well,
we went to?
recently
you
we
and,
went, Brother Walt
Walt?
and I, and who else? We went to D.C. recently, did
Oh,
a
no, not
second
DC.
degree at Potomac 5 in Georgetown, and even their second degree, when and they're 4 letters technically or whatever, and theirs is a little different than ours.
But the
Yeah,
But
but
it's
the
different from
speech-
jurisdiction to jurisdiction. Masonry is not. It's a very old ritual.
Oh, it was the
But
first degree. That first degree went and saw was pretty amazing.
when I went to Hawaii last year, I met a lodge in Hawaii, and it was nice. I pulled out my dues card, like, "Oh, you're from a real lodge or whatever." And I got sitting there meeting. And their meeting was their opening and closings were the rituals a little different. The words that they said were a little different, but it's pretty much all the same.
Yeah, didn't we have a guy from Puerto Rico that wore his apron a little bit
That's right.
differently?
Yeah,
than
that's
that-
right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, and
Yeah.
he's actually going to be joining our lodge because when he came in, he had a letter and we're like, "Oh, you're from a recognized lodge down in Puerto Rico. Come on in, brother." And he came to parties and stuff, and he's like, "Oh, this is awesome."
Yeah, the
party.
pageantry of ritual
The-
is
the night-
awesome to us.
The night that I was initiated, we had a brother from
The night that
Brazil.
I was
Brazil,
initiated.
yeah, we had a brother from Brazil. Brother Luciano was there from Brazil, and it was funny because we met Brother Luciano because his daughter was a Joby in Brazil.
That's because
Job's daughter's-
Jobies in Brazil, there's like 10 million.
Yeah, yeah, that's like-
it's like the largest Job daughters population on
Like,
Earth.
they're like the girls going to Bethel, and there's so many girls in their Job's daughter Bethel. Like you'll be lucky to even
Yeah.
get into an officer seat.
Like
It's
they
impossible.
have like 50 to 100 members of their.
Yeah, it's
congregation.
crazy
It's
down there.
crazy.
They love
Job's
them some
daughters
Job's
took
daughters.
off down there.
We should take a road trip there, right?
I'm down during
I'm down
Carnival.
for Brazil.
I'm down.
We should do a podcast from there.
They don't know about Big Sexy down there.
Oh, they ain't ready for big sexy.
Yeah, he wears one of those feathered get-ups during Carnival.
Wait, some history
But I'm
down
hearing
there.
some Carnival in Brazil, brothers. But Brother Luciano down there. So his daughter came to a meeting, and I saw his dues card. I knew he was from a real lodge, regular lodge that we recognize. And then I said, "Hey, we're having a first degree. Why don't you come down?" And he just said, "Okay." And he drove. He was in the country on a visa or whatever. He came there and was at Craig's initiation, and it was kind of cool. It was tough because I was sitting as the junior warden at night, and I have so much ritual to do, and he's sitting next to me, and we're having a conversation over Google Translate. So he's like, I'm like trying to use the phone to
You got
translate.
the Rosetta Stone out there.
Yeah,
while
it was
you're
rough,
trying
and
to-
then someone comes to me looking at me like, "Hey, what's your line?" I'm like, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
How do you say crayons? And
El Crayon.
Well, and then like when Renzen went to the Philippines, he said that lodge was huge over there. I mean, they had the dinner was like 2 hours long before the meeting.
Well, he was Demole in the Philippines.
you should never eat before a meeting, by the way.
No.
That's the worst.
Well, we always
We
eat
always
before
do
meetings.
it. But
I
Prince
love
Hall
it.
does the opposite. Eating
I love
afterwards
eating
is the
for
Yeah, but
They do, that's it.
worst
Eating
thing
afterwards is amazing.
I think
Yeah,
the
but
worst
luckily our worshipful master
But
sits up there by
we
himself.
wouldn't be we wouldn't be eating till midnight if we ate after.
The worst thing that ever happened was we had chili before a night,
Right.
and it was a
You
long
should
meeting.
never
that's
have
doing
chili
ritual,
before a meeting.
And I should never eat chili. And I just was booming all over that place. I hit one of the past masters in the mouth.
Speaking of
with
chili,
a fart.
isn't someone planning a chili cook-off?
Yeah. He's
eventually.
planning a lot of things that'll never happen. And now we have Tony over there trying to figure out the two Tonys trying to figure out how long this podcast is going because we're just rambling at this point. But this is what we wanted. We wanted something organic like this, so it's working out well.
Absolutely.
You know what? I think we should take a moment and thank the town of La Plata for, allowing our lodge. Because, St. Columba 150 is turning 150 years old this year, but technically we've been here since 1720. So
Aren't we like one of the oldest lodges?
We came over in the
In America?
Mayweather, right?
We were originally chartered by Virginia back in the day. That's
I think
when,
we were.
like,
What was our
lodge-
first number? Like
8?
7 or 8?
it was 7.
7.
Yeah. But that's another thing is that St. Columba's got St. Columba isms. We do things that is a little weird.
Yeah.
But we take our ritual serious, but we have some fun.
of course.
And
Of course.
Everybody's got nicknames.
Everyone's got nicknames,
Yeah,
and when
yeah.
some Grand Lodge officers have come there,
They
they've
get
had
nicknames
The
too.
They
emerald-
get nicknames.
Yep. If you don't get a nickname in St. Columba, something's wrong.
You got to show up.
you know, you
gotta-
Yeah,
that's true.
We
You gotta
finally,
be there.
we finally
It's
got
normally
one.
the-
we
We
gave
finally
the-
got one for our our executive from Scottish Rite.
We gave the Grand Master the Imperial
We're
March.
finally calling him, Iron Man, because he does those
that's right,
Spartan races
Iron
every
Man.
weekend.
Yeah,
And
nice.
Brother Fred's awesome, and he does all those. Like every weekend, I'm like, because like this past weekend, I was
amazing.
like,
I like Old Spice
he wasn't at the.
Yeah.
He wasn't at the ball, and I was like, "Where is he?" And I look on Facebook, and he's like running like a Spartan marathon. I'm like, "What is wrong?"
In
I'm like,
France
I got tired.
and-
I
yeah.
get tired watching him on
Right.
Facebook. I'm like,
What about
oh,
at our installation? We gave the Grand Master the Imperial
Imperial.
March.
Yeah.
The Imperial March was great.
I thought at installation the Grand Master was going to come in here and hear that music, and he was like, "Okay, none of you are
Right.
getting
Out of
installed."
here.
And we're like,
That's it. Wrap it up now.
Yeah, wrap
Turns
it up.
out that he uses it at other lodges when he shows up there.
He's like, "I'm pulling your charter,"
That just means next year we got to up the ante with a smoke machine.
But I have one. But you know what the thing is that goes to show you that we have the Grand Masters have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
While they're the top Mason in the state, they have a sense of humor, and they say Masonry, especially public stuff, should be fun.
Yeah.
We should be having a good
And it
time.
was streamed
still
online.
human.
and-
There's-
Ron,
They're
you
still
should be the
man.
announcer next year at the installation.
Oh, that's
Now,
cool. Yeah.
incoming marshal, 250 pounds, 6'5".
And I
Tony.
think this shows you the,
Ron, honestly, you should MC like the Grand Lodge installation this year, because it would be hilarious. Just give Ron a computer with some music on it and let him go crazy.
Do some Bruce Buffer.
And watch him come up with nicknames off the fly for people that he's never met before.
I just couldn't look at their reaction, though. That's all. I would just have
Current,
to
reigning,
say.
defending Grand Master.
Richard Nagel. Nagel comes out like boxing, and he just like starts knocking out people,
And his competitor.
You get a dues card. You get a dues card.
He would walk over and just punch everyone from our lodge. Like, look, you guys. What did so this weekend at the ball, we were a little rowdy at our table from St.
Shocker.
Always.
No way.
Just a little
You
bit.
don't say.
And the Grand Master realized that we were the rowdy ones. He came right over, right to our table, and we're like, "Oh, the boss is here. We're in trouble." And he was, he's got a sense of humor. So he was funny. But all the tables around us from all the lodges were like laughing. They were egging us on.
The bad news bears
They
of
were egging us on. Some of the other guys were egging us on because they know.
Tell them.
They don't need. Say Columba's there, and I think they're drinking. So let's get them riled up.
Oh, yeah.
And he comes over and he starts talking, and then Tony looks at him and goes, "Yeah, we're Nagel's knuckleheads." And he broke out laughing. I think that's our new nickname is Nagel's knuckleheads. But the
Nice.
most Grand Masters would, you would think wouldn't have a sense of humor,
Right.
but. Wyville was funny. He's still funny. I mean, he was in there telling crazy stories and making fun of Brother Steve because he shot a smaller deer. He's like, "Oh, that's cute. You shot a dog." And all these guys, you think they should be super serious, but they're cut-ups. And they have a lot of fun.
But ultimately, with us having fun, I think what not saves us, but helps us, it allows us to have fun is the seriousness we take in our ritual. And how close to perfection we try and reach.
That's right.
To where they can't point at anything and say, it'd be different if we acted up and then just totally sucked at our ritual, then we'd probably get in trouble more often.
Yeah, we don't take ourselves too seriously. I think which is a welcoming thing for those who come to the lodge just to visit.
Absolutely.
They don't feel
I'll be
like
honest. The first meeting I came to when I came back to the lodge from moving away, it was a bit of a shock for me because I was raised 14 years ago. It was a lot different back then.
That's right.
And so it was a nice turnaround to see
were
where
raised that
it
young?
had come up.
Jeff, you should really back that up a little to tell the whole story, because I didn't know Jeff was a Mason from our lodge, and Jeff and I actually met through geocaching. We're like that hiking game, and it was fun. And I saw him. We became friends.
You hike?
Mostly to the store.
to the liquor store.
This was a long time
All his geotags are at liquor stores around there.
It's funny because I have caches hitting at liquor stores. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But
Shut up, liver.
You're fine.
That's funny because one of them is actually a liver in the woods. But Jeff and I became friends on Facebook, and then one day he had posted something about Masonry, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." I was like, "Are you a Mason?" He goes, "Hey, stupid, I'm out of your lodge." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then he had posted that him and his wife were moving back to the area. And I went, the next day, or the next week or whatever at the meeting, I was like, "Hey, Brother Jeff is moving back to the area. None of us really know him. I kind of knew him, and Bo knew him, but just only through geocaching. And, he was like, I need some help, dumping his stuff off at his storage locker, which has, like, everything in the world. It's like Pandora's box.
He basically unloaded his moving truck in record time.
And like, everyone,
whole
we had like 10
lot
guys.
showed up.
Yeah,
Was it the white van?
And he's sitting there like, who are all these guys? I'm like, welcome back to your lodge. And he's like, the lodge was like old people back in the day. Now it's like, I'm like, oh,
This is not your granddad's lodge.
I mean, seriously, I was
They were
the
a little
youngest
older.
I was the youngest person in my lodge by like 70 years when I joined.
Hey, you're doing something right though when the older guys come and just enjoy it now because
that's the thing,
because
is
like
that
I haven't seen Schlegel have so much fun in a long time. Like when I first started coming to lodge, he always had to correct us because our ritual was a little
it was
a little rough.
It wasn't.
But now he at the end of every meeting he's like, "Good job on the ritual, guys."
I mean, even past Master Ellis, he's 90 years old, and you would think that he'd be the harshest critic on guys in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. And they're having fun. And he, that one meeting, I went around the room and I said, "Okay, what brought you to lodge tonight?" And he stood up and he goes, "Well, I came to lodge tonight just to see what craziness you were going to do."
Wasn't he one of the ones that built the lodge?
Yeah, him and Mitchell.
The
Holt's
1720
the same way.
lodge.
Holt doesn't have anything.
Number 2.
He doesn't have a lot of corrections anymore. He just says, "Good job on ritual, guys."
Yeah.
Yeah, and these guys are awesome. I mean, the older guys, we tease them, and they tease us for being young and stupid and crazy. But these were the guys who, 20 years ago were us, and they were the ones who were angering the older guys.
By doing
but
our
now they're
ritual right,
remembering.
they can enjoy it versus having to sit back and police us. They can now sit back and enjoy the lodge.
Well, because they trust that we
they
got
trust
it.
that we got it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So they're not on pins and needles where they may have been when we were young.
Well, it's kind of like the handoff. Like,
Sure.
these guys are a little wacky, but you know what? They figured it out, and we're doing fine now.
Yeah.
And I think that's been the biggest bonus to what's been going on in the last 3-4 years. Ron, and I were the out of this table, other than Jeff, but we were the ones 5 years ago when I came in, and you just came in. We were the ones who kind of started the this Renaissance period we're hitting, and then Jeff came back, and then all the rest of the guys in this room, I remember going to meetings and there was less than 10 people in a meeting.
Yeah.
Now you go there and there's 30 plus people in the room, and you're just looking around like, and you know everyone in the room.
Right.
And the older guys are coming back and they're hanging out, and they don't run out after a meeting. They're like, I heard there might be drinks after this meeting. We're like, there is, and we go downstairs and
Where have you been?
and we clean up and
Site B?
and then then we go over to Site B and we all hang out there and
Hey, to go down another path, how many of you guys knew that Schlegel had a red hat in Scottish Rite?
that was crazy.
That blew my mind.
When I
I
found
had
him,
no idea.
No idea at all. So
Yeah, but see, that's
he never really talked about it. So
that's
when he
the
showed
true
up on
Scots.
it,
That's the old school thing.
That's
though,
the
right?
Scottish Rite
Yeah.
guys. Those guys are
Unbelievable.
Like, they've done for him to be a KCCH at Scottish Rite means
It's
that he's
huge.
done so much work
Yeah.
in his lifetime over masonry, and I'm looking at him, and he's such a modest guy. He really
Shout
is
out to Schlegel Farms, by the way.
Yeah, Schlegel Farms in Waldorf, Maryland.
Never would have
So-
known that he was KCCH, and then all of a
But
sudden he just showed up at our.
He's incredible,
Yeah.
and when you talk to him, you don't realize just how smart he is and all the work and charity work he's done.
Shout
over
out
here.
to Rabbi Randy for getting us 30.
And Rabbi Randy's got his 30, and
wow.
and,
I
love that guy.
and they talk
Well
about
deserved,
Got his
too,
And he got
33rd
his
degree
33rd
letter.
We gotta
Yeah,
get
he
him.
got his
We're
33rd
trying-
degree letter.
Oh, wow.
Well
it.
deserved.
And we're trying to figure. We just became Scottish Rite Masons. We're still, learning how to crawl at this point. And these guys have been doing it for so many years. And I said, I'm hoping one day I can know the knowledge you do. And they're like, yeah, it's going to take you about 20, 30 years to
Let's
learn
thank its
all
wife
this
again
stuff.
for the stained glass window.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And who's
yeah.
got better stories than Rabbi Randy?
No way.
Yeah, we need to get him in here for
Definitely
a
not
story.
Bo.
Definitely not Bo.
He's got
Love
the
you,
best
Bo.
PG ones. Bo likes to go off into the X-rated. I don't know what he's thinking. Actually, he brings his stories from the Welsh.
From the Welsh. There you
Don't
go.
get it
Right down the
twisted.
Welsh.
Hey now, he's not here to defend himself. Let's be nice.
Yeah.
Oh, how quickly it got quiet. Look how quiet it got all of a sudden.
We're getting the wrap-up sign.
To all
now.
of which,
Okay,
We're getting the wrap-up
looks
sign
like
here.
I think this went interesting. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, this was we had a good time.
yeah, you
Yeah.
better
Well,
wrap
we
it
could,
up.
we could probably go longer if we didn't spend an hour and a half plugging everything
man.
into the wrong.
Right.
Well,
wrong port.
amateur audio engineers here.
Yeah, we have all these guys in here who technically are musicians or want to be DJs, and we can't figure out how to run some cables to record. But
Hey, but we got it running, and I think it went well.
Yeah,
Y'all
for
did a
sure.
good job.
I want to put a shout out for BlueDyer. Thanks for sponsoring.
Yeah,
tonight.
for
And
sure.
thank you very much for Gun Monkeys
Gun
for
Monkeys,
hosting
yeah,
us
sure.
first.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Yeah.
hosting the
Couldn't do
first
without you.
podcast. We
Yeah.
gotta figure out where the second one's coming.
We can
Hey,
look
y'all
back
need to
years
come
from.
check this shop out.
That's
It's pretty
right.
awesome.
If
They
you need,
got
if
a
you
ton
need
of
a if you
stuff.
need a firearm of any type,
Yeah.
you go there and then
Or training.
Hey, once
Amazing.
again, that
Oh, yeah,
address.
yeah, we do
Once again,
training.
that address is 606.
606 Charles Street in downtown
There you go.
Plata,
Yeah,
Maryland.
Gun
or the
Monkeys, check
website
'em
is.
out.
gmarmory.com.
There you
And
go.
check their Facebook because they do daily raffles.
That's right.
And
That's right.
I actually won something off a raffle.
There you go.
My
Wow.
wife,
So
I
did
had
I.
to hide it from her, so hopefully she'll listen and find out what I have hidden. But that's a nice thing is that through the lodge we've met so many people,
right.
so many local businesses, and we support those businesses and like
Yeah.
BlueDyer and some
And
other
they
ones.
support us.
Exactly.
That's right.
But it's all about us giving back to charities like Springdale, the Springdale Center in La Plata.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had our golf tournament this year, and now we're about to give them the proceeds from the golf tournament.
That's
to help
awesome.
Out.
We
Hey,
should get them down here
Hey,
for
since
a
since you
podcast.
brought up Springdale in the golf tournament, stay tuned for more information for next year's golf tournament.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
we might
And
even be
also-
recording live from the
Oh,
golf.
yeah.
Oh,
That probably could happen.
That could be dangerous.
Yeah.
That could be dangerous.
and speaking
could
of
happen.
coming up, we've got a local brewery that just started, and it's really, really good.
And there's some brothers that work from different
Yeah.
lodges
Great
that we know
brothers
that work
from
there.
that
So
lodge
we will,
from there too,
we will
yeah.
be supporting Patuxent Brewery in Waldorf, Maryland, which is like 100 yards away from BlueDyer.
Perfect.
So really, you can just walk between the two and not get not have
And,
to worry about getting in a car.
Make sure to follow St. Clubbo's Masonic Center on Facebook. We'll let you know what topic we're going to cover next
That's
through
right.
Facebook.
Right.
And and you can post your questions on there if you have some questions for the
Yeah, we
podcast.
can bring
you
it
can
up.
post,
Yeah.
and we'll answer your questions about masonry.
That's right.
Because
Or not about masonry.
Yeah,
I personally want to learn what Big
it-
Sexy has on his playlist.
If you,
man.
if you want to talk
That's
about
right.
like,
Good point.
let's go around the room real quick. What's on your playlist? One song on your playlist that's brand new right now, brother Ron.
That's brand new.
Brand new.
I was just going to say Caribbean Queen.
All right, let's go with that.
I got
Stitch?
Queen. I'm going old school.
There you go.
Gun Monkey. What do you got? Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
great
I
dinner.
don't, yeah,
Okay.
Crickets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some firearm.
Oh, brother Bear is listening to a lot of Josh Wink right now. Brother Craig,
A little bit of everything. Yeah, nothing particular.
Big Sexy.
Get up.
Oh, get up. There you go.
I don't even know what that
I
is.
actually listened to Darude Sandstorm on the way over here.
It was
Darude.
funny. It was on Sirius XM.
Yes,
I
it
was
was.
listening to,
Oh,
but,
yeah, you know, I actually had
if you
us-
get a chance, DJ Shadow, who's actually playing in your earphones right now, has a new song out with De La Soul, Rocket Fuel. Just
De La
came out
Soul.
Nice.
last
Hey,
week.
nice.
It is old school DJ Shadow, so a lot of sampling, a lot of
There you go.
scratching, good time, and it's old school De La Soul. You know, it's a great song. Check it out on Facebook.
I have an
YouTube, or whatever.
alibi.
All right, go ahead.
So I haven't been listening to a whole lot of music. I've been listening to
Cool story, bro.
audiobooks. I've been listening to David Goggins.
Because he
Because
can't
you can't
Oh,
read.
Goggins.
Because he can't read.
I don't have time to sit down with a book. David Goggins is a
He
Navy
is
SEAL.
amazing.
that book.
Amazing. The dude lost like 100 pounds in a week.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Well, 3 months or in a month he had to lose
Yeah.
100 pounds or some
Yeah.
crazy
Didn't
number.
he do it like on a vegan diet or something?
know how
I
he
haven't
did it.
gotten that far in the book.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
it's
right
like,
at the
Spoiler
beginning of the
alert.
transition.
I'm looking at Brother Bear over there. He's like, guys, we need to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
we're getting the hard
to all of it.
To all of it. So this is Brother Spike.
West Side.
Big Sexy.
Hollywood.
Gun Monkey. Yeah, Gun
Try that
Monkey.
again.
Brother Stitch.
the Music Man.
Brother Bear.
Coming live from Gun Monkey Armory, and we will see you next time somewhere on the internet.
We're out.
Peace out.